nearly £2.5 billion a year is being spent on brand search, and therefore technology like this could be saving anywhere between 10 to 30, maybe more % of that money to be redirected back into the rest of the the UK media landscape.
Hello, it's Omar Oakes, editor of The Media Leader. We write about the media industry. And today we're here to talk about the Google tax. What is the Google tax? Well, imagine if you're an advertiser, you pay for search advertising on Google, pretty popular search engine, and you have to actually buy up search terms related to your brand. If you don't do that, imagine if you're a competitor. So imagine you're Sainsbury's and you don't want people buying up Sainsbury's search terms so that when people search for Sainsbury's, the first thing they get up on Google is Tesco or Aldi. So the Google tax is when every advertiser has to do this. If everyone's paying for the same thing and not getting any competitive advantage, people liken it to a tax. Now, this has become an issue for years in the digital advertising industry, and for the most part, people have just accepted it as the cost of doing business. But could that be about to change? Ross Jenkins, EMEA and APAC CEO at IPG media agency Mediahub, believes his agency may have found a solution. Let's talk to Ross and find out.
Google has enabled brands to target competing brands for a long time now. The concept of the Google tax is not really a new one. That phraseology has been around for a while. But I think where we started getting really interested in it was working with Sticky Eyes, who are an IPG partner agency of media hubs. We started thinking about how could we solve this? How could we free up that needless expenditure in the Google world? And so we started looking at custom scripts that we could develop, technology that could sort of augment the native tools that Google gives you to escape this Google tax. So we started doing that a couple of years ago, and we developed Sticky Eyes with our support and guidance, developed a tool called Equilibrium, and we have started rolling that out across Mediahub clients around the world.
And so what does Equilibrium do?
So it's at its core, it's a very simple piece of technology. It uses Boolean logic and scraping technology. It scrapes search results pages multiple times a day to look for instances where competing brands are not bidding on our clients' brands, and this is the Boolean bit, and where our client's brand has good rank in the organic search results. And in those instances, we issue a command to Google not to bid, therefore saving the client money on that search result. Where the script sees a competing brand bidding on our client's brand, or it sees poor organic search ranking for that search term, then it allows Google to continue to bid on that search term. So it's very, very clearly the tech behind it is quite complex, but the concept is quite simple, relying on some Boolean logic to determine when to bid and when not to bid.
Sure. So how much, let's say that everyone uses this, how much do you think that advertisers could be saving?
Well, you asked about what research we'd done, and we started looking across our clients where we're managing their paid search, and we found that anywhere between high single digit and up to 30% of search budgets were going into brand search, this space where where this sort of this competitive racket is taking place. And we then determined through some structured tests that we could save anywhere between 20 and 50% of that budget by deploying this script. And clearly it differs across categories. It depends on the intensity of competition in any category, you know, the rate with which competing brands are bidding on our clients' brands. You see quite wide variation across categories, but quite substantial savings. Our guess, our informed guess, is that nearly £2.5 billion a year is being spent on brand search, and therefore technology like this could be saving anywhere between 10 to 30, maybe more % of that money to be redirected back into the rest of the the UK media landscape.
Well, obviously, Google doesn't just operate in the UK. It's a massive global search engine, dominant search engine. So writ large across the world, we're talking about many more potential billions. So my question is, with that in mind, how come? I mean, there must be other agencies which have developed tools in terms of being able to do this as well. You surely can't be the first to have cracked this.
Not that I know of. I'm fairly indoctrinated. I've been at Mediahub for the best part of 2 decades. So I couldn't really speak for anyone else, but having had a look around, I haven't been able to find anything that does exactly the same thing.
So surely you must have other clients that are very interested in this. Have you started communicating this to all clients, and how many are using them? Are using this tool, Equilibrium?
I think we have 3 clients in the UK right now, with plans to roll it out across others. The most significant of those is Western Union, which is a global Mediahub relationship, where, to your point about this being a sort of borderless problem, we have rolled out Equilibrium into 11 or 12 markets, with more on the docket.
And as you said before, the Google tax is not a new thing. This has been happening for years, and Google is obviously the world's dominant search engine in most countries. Why do you think there hasn't been more work done up until now, I guess, in terms of solving the Google tax problem? Because it must be a common source of frustration for advertisers.
I think that part of the answer is probably about vested interest. If you look at the ecosystem of companies, sort of making money off the Google ecosystem, you've got agencies, you've got technology companies creating bid management technologies and so on. The predominant bid management technology is actually a Google technology. And clearly there is no interest there in doing anything that would reduce the volume of dollars and clicks going down that route. I think from an agency perspective, I feel like we're fairly unique in that we put technology right at the core of the Mediahub proposition, and we have the ability to create our own technology. We have, in this case, technologists who work with sticky eyes on their tool, whereas not to sort of denigrate anybody, but I don't think other agencies maybe have technology, or most agencies don't put technology right at the core of the offer. We certainly believe that being able to augment the native capabilities in the walled gardens is a way to bring competitive advantage to our clients. If everybody's using the same native tools and data sets, then effectively everybody's in the same race. So this is about trying to change things up and give our clients an advantage in that race.
Yeah, and I think competitive advantage is incredibly important, particularly writing about media as I have done for several years. There is a perception, I suppose, among many advertisers that most media agencies are fairly fungible, where they will have, particularly if you're a big global brand advertiser, where they're not going to reinvent the wheel in terms of media plans and technology that they have. So you can just choose one over the other. Whereas actually it would be great if we kind of heard more from media agencies in terms of how they are developing technology or new tools in order to offer some sort of competitive difference. And to your point about Google, if I can be reductive and say they're not only just the media owner of search and YouTube and everything else, but they also provide the technology behind it, which it seems to me from the outside, a lot of agencies are just using the tools that are provided with them instead of actually taking a step back and thinking, can we do better? Can we find a way of offering, as you say, competitive advantage? Do you think that that's changing, not just in IPG, your company, but across the industry?
I think that there is a growing awareness of being overly dependent, particularly on the walled gardens, and I would put Meta in that space as well. To some extent, Apple, and being overly reliant on their data, their measurement solutions. I think there are agencies who are cognizant of that and are trying to change that up a bit. I would put people like Brain Labs or Jellyfish in that bracket, but at the same time, they are also, my understanding is big chunks of their business are as Google resellers. So do they have vested interest in sort of fueling the Google machine? We certainly believe that we start with humans and human insight and trying to understand their journeys, and then how can we hack those journeys using ideas, technology, creativity, to do that. And I think that's that spirit of challenging is at the heart of how we approach media.